Hi, India Martin. I am the behavior specialist here at the Edgewood Middle School campus. When I first came to DC Prep way back in 2017, October 2017, I came in as an academic intervention fellow, an AIF. When I came in as an academic intervention fellow, within that role, I was working with my kiddo, Jim Austin, which is a student who has an IEP. Within that IEP, he has specific supports such as behavioral supports. So with that, I was the interventionist that would come in to support him both academically and as well as behaviorally. So my roles and responsibilities expanded to and from creating checklists for him to have to complete his work, and then following up with teachers on what work wasn't completed and how we can continue to collab to make sure that that task was done, and also adding in that extra tier support of behavioral supports. So making sure that I was the go-to person if he was escalated, if he was dysregulated or frustrated. Figuring out ways and interventions along with our SEC on how we can best keep him in class, how we can make sure that we're boosting that engagement and overall make him a well-rounded student within our DC Prep. When starting off as an AIF, I was in graduate school. I was utilizing this as an opportunity to get a footing into the education field, but had no anticipation of remaining here at DC Prep. But one thing that captivated me was the connection and care that we had for students, which motivated me to not just remain in that AIF role, but look into other interventions. My SEC at the time, B. Kara Shu, saw that I had a love for reading and also that I had a passion to work with children. They actually invested in me, or DC Prep invested in me, for me to be Wilson certified and trained. And I started off my first educational career of being a reading interventionist with students with IEPs or significant reading gaps. From there, I just loved it. I loved working with small groups. I loved working with kids in capacity. I loved seeing the fruits of my labor when they were learning and utilizing strategies inside of the classroom. So I pushed to go into special education roles. Started off in the 4th grade. Love those babies. Shout out to Georgetown and Howard and EMC, by the way. Love seeing again some of those babies grow, seeing them being able to use strategies on a day-to-day basis, and knowing that I was an active stakeholder in that process. Through that, we shifted into my love of history. So I moved from upstairs to downstairs to getting to know our senior academy babies by being the 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher. And I just saw that we had a need within our building, that going back to my first love when I first came here as an AIF, what it means to be a proactive planner and what it means to be a proactive stakeholder when it comes to behavioral supports. So I went after that leadership role and experience here, and thankfully through DC Prep being able to be coached up, feeling confident that I could complete the task and role, I am the EMC behavior specialist. When you are at DC Prep, one thing that they will do is coach you. When it comes to not just making sure that you are well prepared and well versed when it comes to all the different facets of education, they also invest in you as a person. I remember the Richard Myers, the Fabian Collins, the John Beckers, the Matthew Carethers, the Tara Igbals. I remember those individuals literally taking me underneath their wing and not just telling me what to do, but physically showing me what to do. And also living and breathing that value on a day-to-day basis. It wasn't Rich telling me to respect students and make sure that you're cultivating and building relationships. It was him physically showing that and living out that value on a day-to-day basis. It was me physically seeing Ms. Collins holding students accountable, but then also adding an additional level of care to where they knew maybe I had to get fussed out this morning, but I know that she cares about me. I know that she's leading from a place of love. With that coaching, with that supervision, and with just that general standard that was set in place, that's what made me feel confident enough to even apply for this role. There are moments where, yes, I have some elements of self-doubt, or moments where I don't feel comfortable, but there's a saying, you always revert back to your training. My training was developed and built through the amazing individuals within this EMC building. Advice that I would give to newcomers to DC Prep, whether you have been in education for 13 years or 3 months, be willing to listen, be willing to learn. The way of DC Prep is strenuous and can be a lot at times, but it is on the right track to ensure that we are doing right by our brown and black babies within our marginalized communities. It is a way for us to ensure that we are bringing our best selves forward, not just from the academic standpoint, but also from that social and emotional learning and lens. Be able to feel comfortable with making mistakes. You're in a safe space. You're in a space where it's okay for you to mess up. It's okay for you to have to go back to the drawing board. The sense of community that I have felt at Edgewood makes it a space where I know that even if I do have to go back to square one, I have multiple people backing me at that square one and pushing me forward to square 10. Be willing also to challenge yourself. We don't do the norm here at DC Prep. We give kids homework every night. We push for academic excellence, no matter if a baby has an IEP or one of our highest performance students within their cohort. Every student deserves to be challenged, which means you as an adult have to be challenged, and that's okay. Also, be willing to ask the hard questions. As a network, we want to grow. We want to become better because it's all in service of our beautiful kids. So being willing to push forward, to ask questions, but again, in the words of my mother, leading with love along with it.